let's go back there. Let's go back to Dr. Glover at that point. Like where was he at in his life, and what was the inspiration to write a book titled No More Mr. Nice Guy?
All right, well, let's go back even further.
Okay.
Because it took me about 6-7 years to write the book. So I'd say, 25, 30 years ago, I was in my second marriage. I was working as a marriage and family therapist, and I was a nice guy. If you'd met me, I'd tell you I'm a nice guy. I'm one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. And I couldn't understand why everybody didn't have that attitude of trying to be kind and generous and never get angry and stuff like that. And so, it had served me fairly well most of my life, being this nice guy, trying to be different from my father, trying to be the kind of man that, women said they wanted and that my mother trained me to be. But 2 or 3 years into my second marriage, my then wife said, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to leave you. Why? I'm a nice guy. And everybody thinks you're a nice guy, but you're not. You're not a nice guy to me. You embarrass me in public. You put me down. You don't follow through on the things you say you're going to do. I'd rather be with an asshole. At least I know an asshole is going to treat me bad. You treat me good, and then out of the blue, I'm not expecting it, and you do hurtful things to me. And I thought, okay, I need to go get help. She's the one who's angry all the time, moody all the time, never happy, never wants to have sex anymore. And I thought, okay, I didn't want to lose the marriage, so I went and got help. And luckily, I landed in some really good situations. I actually went looking for help to figure out why being a nice guy didn't make my wife appreciate me more and want to have sex more. So I landed in a 12-step group for sex addicts and quickly found out I wasn't a sex addict. I was not having enough sex to be a sex addict. But it was like the best place for me because it was like 8, 9, 10 guys who really were out of control in a lot of areas of their life. And for the first time in my life, I just started opening up and talking about me. Just revealing stuff about me. I grew up in a fundamental Christian church. My father was critical. I grew up just always hiding everything about me. And so for the first time in my life, I'd go with these meetings and I'd just tell stuff about me I never talked about before. And they said, thanks for sharing, Robert. I go, hey, this is pretty good. I like this. This is cool. And I also started working with a counselor at this time. And I remember the very first session I ever had with this counselor, is a woman counselor. I walk in, sit down, and she says, we're going to talk about boundaries. And I thought, okay, I was in my 30s and my second marriage, already had a PhD in marriage and family therapy. I'd never heard of boundaries before. So she gets a string out on the ground and starts doing a little demonstration around boundaries. And I thought, oh, this is really interesting. I can say no. I can say stop. I can say, please don't do that. I can say, I'm going to get off the phone now. I thought, I didn't know I could do any of those things, right? And then not long after that, I got into a men's group. So I went to work, not so much thinking how am I going to work on my nice guy issues, but I went to work on, I was trying to make my wife happy and it wasn't working. So I was still trying to figure out how can I make her happy by going to therapy. And luckily I did. I found out about boundaries. I found out about making my needs a priority. I started connecting with men. I started becoming more honest. I worked at being more honest. And as I was doing my own work and beginning to see changes in myself, I began to be aware that guys coming to me with their wives or girlfriends for couples therapy were saying the same things I'd said about their wives and girlfriends. I'm a nice guy. I treat her better than her ex. I'm raising her kids. I give her everything she wants. It's never enough. It's never good enough. She's never happy. She never wants to have sex. She's not, she's always angry. When's it going to be my turn? And I thought, man, I can finish these guys' sentences for them. And at the same time, I would hear from the single guys that would say, hey, I'm a nice guy. That's what girls all say they want. They want a nice guy. But when I'm a nice guy, they just said, oh, you're my friend. And they'll say, oh, some woman's going to be so lucky to have you someday. And I go, well, why don't you want to have me? I'm a nice guy. And so I started a No More Mr. Nice Guy group, probably between 25 and 30 years ago. Met every other Wednesday. And I just started writing just stuff to give them.